I think he's kind of trending up on a lot of the boards, and that's QB Husan Longstreet out of the state of Texas. Or no, I'm sorry. He might be going to Texas for college, but he's from California. Played at Centennial, which is churning out some guys we like. I know they had a running back a couple years ago, and I think one of their quarterbacks over the last few years has been a guy that we identified. So Centennial putting out some quality players out in California. But anyway, before we get going, if you like what we do here on The Official, like and subscribe to this video so you'll never miss when we are pumping out information about these 2025 prospects from a fantasy angle. So anyway, I'll just keep going with Longstreet here. QB5 right now on 3. 32 overall, which represents quite a rise over the last few months. When we originally put this show sheet together, he was further down the list. We got an 11-inch hand. David, you're usually the guy that gets the measurements. Is that true?
I'm like fairly skeptical. I mean, I think he has a big hand for sure. That would be like, I think the biggest ever on mock draftable.
Under the giant level. 78-inch wingspan. So he is a physical specimen and third-ranked team in California. So he plays for a pretty good team with a 79 power ranking. So that's really good, and a 64 strength of schedule. So he plays for a very good team. He's committed to Texas A&M, and he just got announced as a Elite 11 finalist. And I really like this guy. So it's 87 athletic score. And you can see it not only when he's scrambling, but you can just tell in his pocket movement and his arm action. He's got a really live arm. We've got a velo of 56, which, as you know, 52 is kind of the threshold. So he's well above that. We don't really see higher than 60. So he's definitely upper echelon arm strength. That does pop on tape. Two-sport athlete. And then this past season, 67% completion. I mean, that's a dart right there. Greater than 10 yards per attempt, 24 touchdowns to 6 picks. Also had 645 rushing yards on the ground. And you can see right there, juking a guy. I do think this is translatable rushing ability, with significant contribution. I mean, I think he could be a 300 to 400 yards rusher at the QB position, at least in college and maybe beyond. That throw right there, I just love it. He's got a really quick slingshot. And it does seem to come out of different arm angles. I think he's very flexible. I think his shoulder is very flexible. And, it's not just me on the tape. He recently went to a QB retreat hosted, I think, by Steve Clarkson. And what the people said watching him, even current college QBs, he's got a live arm and he's just twitchy all around, both in arm movement as well as, mobility. And he lost to St. John's Bosco Prep 43-42, but he had 294 passing yards, touchdown, and also 70 on the ground. So he was in the state final game against powerhouse St. John Bosco. I think to wrap it up, he's got a real live arm with easy, smooth, quick arm action and mobility. And his completion percentage, at least, is really good, approaching 70% at 67. And you can see there, I kind of got a lot of different, balls in his ability to get it to all areas of the field with that arm strength and creativity, I think, to hit certain spots. I guess the only thing I might say to close out kind of what I'm talking about here is 6 interceptions is a little higher. I mean, we usually like to see under 5 down. A lot of QB prospects have 2 to 3 to 4. 6 a little high. I'm not going to totally ding him for that. And then I think that he kind of has maybe right now only a handful of gears in terms of how the velo, like it's always a fastball. Not sure if I'm seeing tons of different rhythms with his throws, which is something I think can be worked on. But from what I can tell, I really like it. He's probably my QB3 that I've watched right now in this class, which is a little higher, I think, than industry. I already brought in David for a quick comment. Matt, we'll go to you, and then David for your thoughts on Husan Longstreet.
I actually like him a lot as well. Probably in the QB conversation for me, QB3 conversation for me. The only really concern I have is he has generally pretty good accuracy. I think his ball placement can be pretty shaky at times. I think he throws with pretty good anticipation. He's pretty aggressive. Something I really look for. Obviously, has the arm, has the mobility, two things we really love in young quarterback prospect. A little bit short, but I mean, 6'1's plenty. He's been measured 6'1.5" as well, so certainly fine there. Looks like a guy that can add on another 15, 20 pounds. The crazy wingspan and hand size for someone that's only 6'1". It's like historically big. It's like 99th percentile. It's pretty ridiculous. He should grow into that frame more. I really like him. He's just a good overall player with a high ceiling as well. We'll see what happens to Texas A&M. It's a bit of a mystery at the moment, but I can't hate it for now.
David, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Not exactly sure where he's gonna end up, but yeah, most likely top 5 area. Most likely tier 2 for me. I just want to see how he does. I want to see how he stacks up at the Elite 11 finals. I want to see how he looks in that environment. And then, how he does as a senior. The athletic model really likes him, with that high velocity. Like, he's 87th percentile. And once he adds weight and stuff, he'll probably get even more of a boost. So, that puts him, if he can get over 90 percentile athlete for a QB, like you're starting to get into first round potential territory, probably like pretty safely, like a day 2 type profile. He checks a lot of boxes with production. As far as like his processing and stuff, I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not that good of a scout. So I kind of see him scanning the field a little bit. Seems like he kind of locks onto his first read and stuff like that. So that's something I'm going to definitely watch for more, see if I can figure out, try to get inside his mind and see what he's seeing, and maybe watch things on slow-mo a little bit and try to understand his processing a little bit better. But that's kind of a little bit of an unknown for me at this point. But yeah, I think pretty safe profile, like relative to this class, I would say.
Yeah, and I couldn't find Centennial full game, which is his high school. I watched as much as I could from different highlights of games that Centennial played in, which showed highlights from both sides. So I did see a few pass breakups, a few interceptions on those, which I think tell you sometimes more about the player than the actual huddle highlight tape. So I try to watch, especially for QBs. To me, the whole context of the game is really important. I couldn't find that for Longstreet, so there is a little bit of a hole in my evaluation just on that alone. Hopefully I'll get more info there, but I think he's got a lot of building blocks we can get excited about. I think there's very clear 2 really good QBs that we feel very confident about, and then Longstreet might be a little more raw, but definitely has pieces to put together for a really nice profile. And on top of everything else, he may not wind up at Texas A&M. He's from California. I don't really know if there's history with Texas at all, but he's from California, at least in recent history. And then Oregon is apparently pushing very hard for Longstreet. That would be super exciting. Oregon would be much more favorable just in terms of immediate, I think, fantasy relevance than Texas A&M. So TBD on Longstreet, but I think we're all in agreement. This is a top QB in the class, so that's exciting.